I will trade the entire Bills draft this year to do exactly that, Joshua.
You're willing to sacrifice it all.
Everything.
Hey, man.
Welcome, everyone, to the OneLife podcast for the Buffalo Bills.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Today, we're going to be mostly talking about the NFL salary cap and the Bills free agency period. So we're going to go through my ideal scenarios for what the Bills are going to do in free agency, and along with what Josh thinks we could do additionally, or whatever his thoughts are on it.
Yep, I'm excited. Plan to learn a lot here because I'm not too familiar with things like the salary cap, all of that kind of information about the NFL. So excited to see what you can kind of inform me on.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. So Josh, what do you think after this regular season? Where do you think the Bills need to improve the most from their previous seasons?
Yeah, I mean, that is a tough question, honestly, because one of the best Bills teams that we've seen.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
We looked like a pretty complete team. I think if I had to put emphasis on any areas, I would say that after watching the Super Bowl, seeing the Eagles play, seeing how dominant their defensive line is, I would love a little bit more of an aggressive pass rusher.
Yeah.
Kept Patrick Mahomes on his toes the entire game. And so I'd like a weapon like that on the Bills defense to kind of push the pressure. I think that we need an Amari Cooper replacement.
Yep.
Tough to give my rationale behind that because it almost seemed like Amari Cooper didn't do that much because we're so selfless with the ball and we spread it so evenly. But it was undeniable the second he got on the team and was on the field, the ball started to get passed more evenly, easier than before. And I think that's because he took a lot of attention because he is that good. And I think that with him gone, we need someone else that's a big threat like that so that we can continue to pass the ball around.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah. Those are the two big spots that I agree with for sure. I would also say we need to improve our secondary.
Yeah.
We have two great players, Christian Benford and Taron Johnson, in our secondary, and everyone else is just okay. There's no one bad back there, right? DeMar Hamlin's not bad. Rasul Douglas is not bad, but we just don't have another difference maker back there.
And we've struggled with injuries in our secondary for years now.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something you can't help, but I do agree. I think that our secondary, while at the beginning of the season it seemed like our secondary was our strong suit on our defense, towards the end of the season it seemed like that we were getting exposed a little bit there. Yeah,
so our only real strong suit, I think, is our second level, where it's Matt Milano, Terrell Bernard, and Taron Johnson, who is our nickel corner.
Right.
I do think we need to figure out a way to get bigger while keeping Taron Johnson on the field. So, like, one common factor with a lot of our defense's weaknesses has been going against teams that run the ball well. And that's because Taron Johnson is too small of a player. He's incredible. He tackles people. He can tackle Derrick Henry. He can make plays that he shouldn't be able to make, right? But that being said, he's just not big enough there. So I think we need to figure out a formation difference, whether it's instead of taking Taron Johnson off the field, maybe we take a safety off and put another linebacker on.
Okay, just to stop that rushing.
Just for rushing downs. Like, we need to figure out a different way to play nickel. And I think ideally we find a player who can play that safety linebacker position. So there's guys out there that are like bigger safeties.
Right.
And I think that could be huge for us, where we have like a bigger, more physical safety, which we don't currently have.
Yeah, I don't know if you have anything planned for that coming up in the episode, but do you have thoughts as far as who you think that could be?
I really looked in the free agent pool this year for that, but there really isn't anyone, and there's not really anyone who has the ability to trade for that guy. That guy just isn't out there in the NFL right now, so I think you got to find someone in the draft for that.
Okay, yeah, I was just going to ask, do you think it's just wishful thinking, or you think something in the draft might?
So I think there's a lot of guys who play linebacker who have the ability to play safety. The ideal person for that job is Matt Milano.
Okay.
If we have another Matt Milano, we can put him at safety.
Give me another example of someone in the league that you think.
There's a guy on the Patriots who does this. I can't remember his name.
Okay.
I'll throw it down below. Look underneath my face. There'll be a name on there, and that's the guy I'm talking about. But there are guys in the league that do that.
Okay.
They're just not available. People don't let those guys go.
Right. Yeah. Just like we're not letting go of Milano, you know?
Yeah. Like we're not letting. Yeah, exactly. You don't let your best play. You don't let your most impactful players on defense go.
Right.
Now, moving on from what we think can improve, what you think we can improve, let's talk about the salary cap.
Tell me a little about salary cap. I don't fully understand the concept of the monetary side of the NFL. What is the salary cap? How does it work?
Okay, so the salary cap is set based off of the profits that the NFL makes each year. So basically, 51% of the profits go to the players in the salary cap.
Okay.
So like all the money that the NFL made, all of their revenue, not revenue, all of their profit. So everything that they made, cut in half, add 1%, that's the salary cap number.
Salary cap goes across every single team?
Every single team has the
same?
exact same salary cap.
Got it.
I actually don't think it's set this year yet because they determined the salary cap number before free agency. If we post this before the salary cap, after the salary cap is made, then we'll post the number right here. But I believe all estimates are looking at about $275 million per team.
Got it.
So the other factor is with that number at $275 million, the Bills currently have negative $12 million and $12 million on their salary cap. They're currently paying their players more this season than they are allowed to pay. So
how does that work?
It's just based off of contracts from last year, right?
Okay.
So let's say it's 275. They have on their cap currently this year.
Okay.
It would 297 million.
If they were to re-sign everybody?
Just currently as it stands. As their contracts currently stand.
Okay. So they have to make cuts. Is that what that means?
So not exactly. That is one way you can do it. The other is by restructure and extensions. Okay. So the way the NFL works is players are not paid the same every single year, like the same amount. And there's this thing called a salary bonus and guaranteed money. So the salary bonus signing bonus. The moment a player signs the contract, that money goes to their bank account.
Got it.
So let's say you have $10 million signing bonus. That money goes into your bank account, but all $10 million doesn't go on your contract, doesn't go on the cap right now. Let's say it's a 3-year deal and you get we're going to make my life easier. Let's say it's a 5-year deal and it's a $10 million bonus.
Okay.
$2 million gets put on each year of that contract.
Got it.
So it's spread out completely evenly throughout the full contract.
Okay.
So one of the big things we can do this year to get more room on our salary cap is extend Josh Allen.
Oh, and that makes a huge difference because he's getting big bucks.
Yep. So right now he's getting paid. Right now on the cap, I believe he's at $43 million.
Okay.
We can extend him however long we want and we can put void years at the end. So basically I'm going to go over void years real quick because that'll be important. Void years are years at the end where, like, let's say you reach the end of your contract. All of those years are put at the end after the end of the contract so that you can spread that signing bonus farther.
Okay.
So, like, for instance, Von Miller next year, he has 3 void years at the end of his contract. Next year, all of that salary cap would accelerate to that year and end up as dead cap because he'll be a free agent.
Okay. So they just get paid out later.
Yes.
Okay. How likely do you think that is that the Bills will do that for Josh Allen?
Oh, I think they will 100% do that for Josh Allen because my main opinion on Josh Allen is he's going to be our quarterback for the rest of his career. And the day he retires if there's void years, if there's guaranteed money spread out, it accelerates. But you know what? Let's just fucking suck that year.
Just take a year off, basically.
Take a year, be like, oh,
Rebuild.
Josh Allen's retired. Okay, we're gonna suck real bad, and we're gonna have a lot of money, a lot of dead cap because Josh Allen retired.
Yeah.
But maybe go for that number 1 pick, and that's like 10 years down the road. We don't have to give a shit about that right now.
That does not exist right now.
Yeah, just keep pushing that Josh Allen contract down the road.
Number 17 will live on forever. We don't have to think about his retirement.
So my idea for the Josh Allen extension is a 3-year extension.
Okay.
On top of what he currently has. So I believe his contract goes through 2029.
Okay.
Add 3 more years to the end of that. $60 million per year of that contract. Yeah, which is insane.
Wow.
But have it a lot in signing bonus. And what that will do is it'll free up $11 million in salary cap space this year.
Yeah.
We can do the same thing with a couple of other players. We can do the same thing with Dawson Knox. A lot of people think that Dawson Knox is overpaid. And I kind of agree with them, but like he's a core member of the team. I think he does enough on the team to extend him, and we'll extend him for less than his average annual value this year is. So his average annual value right now is $14 million a year.
Okay.
When we signed that extension for Dawson Knox, I think we had 2 years on the end, $7 million per year, and that'll free up $9 million on the salary cap.
Okay.
This year.
So a total $9 million on top of the $11 million.
On top of the $11 million.
Okay.
So that's another one. I would say the same thing with Taylor Rapp. Not a huge difference. 2 years, $4 million per year. That frees up $1 million in salary cap space. Ed Oliver, same thing. 2 more years, 23 per year, frees up $10 million more dollars. And then Connor McGovern, who is on the final year of his contract. I think he is a slam dunk candidate because he is he's the only offensive lineman in our starting 5 that isn't extended for multiple years past currently. And I think he's the easiest player for us to extend him 3 years, $8 million per year, free up $2 million in cap space, giving us $22.973 million in space this year to work with.
Awesome.
There are 2 players who might be cap casualties this year, which are players who we cut because we save a ton of money on the cap for them.
Who's that?
Mitch Trubisky. Fine. Don't care.
I mean, yeah.
The second one.
You always hope that you don't have to use your backup quarterback, you know?
For sure.
He's a great backup quarterback as far as backups go, but we'll find a replacement.
Yeah, 100%. But we could draft a guy in the 7th round and he'll be fine. The other one hurts more. Okay. Von Miller. Von Miller is the guy who we have 2 options with him. One is to completely restructure his contract so we're paying him less, or we cut him and we save $8 million off the salary cap. So I think we need that cap room.
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't think Von Miller did enough this past year, to show that he's the tool that we thought he was going to be. He was that pass rush guy, the pass rush guy that, we thought we were going to be able to put quarterbacks on their back foot, and he just didn't really come back from the injury, so it seems. Yeah,
I 100% agree, and I would love to keep him for less money. So, for instance, what we could do is negotiate with him, get him down to the vet minimum salary, and that would get us to, so we have $8 million. If we cut him, we'll get 1.1 less, which is the vet minimum. So we'll basically save $7 million on the cap by moving him to the vet minimum.
Yeah.
That's something that we can work with him with. And if we get him for that, I'm okay with it. It's fine. I'm okay with him being on the roster. It's not the roster spot that's the problem. It's how much money we can save by getting rid of him.
Yeah. How likely do you think that he agrees to terms like that?
So I think that the moment we cut Von Miller, if he wants to be on another team, he'll be signed by another team at the vet minimum.
Yeah.
Like if he wants it, he'll be on a team because he's good enough he's still good. He's just not elite.
He is good. Yeah. I was wondering, how much does he recognize that, he's maybe lost a step and he's not going to be able to leave an organization that has an amazing culture for him and get much more money.
especially one that stood by him when he went through all of his issues about a year and a half ago. Like,
yeah, excellent point.
The Bills organization has stuck with him for that entire time period.
Yep. Other teams, and debatably, some people might think, and I honestly, I have iffy moral opinions about whether the Bills stuck with him or not. But regardless, he has to appreciate that.
Yeah, and they stuck by him with all of his things, all the issues that he had, and I think that'll give him incentives to stick with the Bills if the Bills want to do that.
Yeah,
I'm okay either way, right? Let's assume that we cut him pre-June 1st. So there's June 1st, post-June 1st cuts and pre-June 1st cuts.
Okay. What's the big differential?
So pre-June 1st cuts accelerates his entire everything into this season. So like that signing bonus that I talked about, it accelerates all of that dead cap into this year. Post-June 1st spreads it between this year and the following year.
Got it.
So basically, if we cut Von Miller now, we save $8 million on the cap. If we cut him after June 1st, we save this year, I think it's $13 million, but that $5 million on the cap will be on our cap next season.
Okay.
So that's kind of how that works.
Got it.
And we also don't get that money right now. We don't get that money until after June 1st, which is important.
So cutting Von Miller puts us to what for cap space?
Cutting Von Miller, Mitch Trubisky gives us $33.864 million in cap space. So I think with that being the case, I think those moves are the ones the Bills should make.
Okay.
And free up that amount of money.
Got it.
To save that amount of money. That gives you need about $10 million for the draft, and you need to save about $5 million for just random things that happen during the season.
Okay.
Right? Like different transactions. So that gives us about $15 million to work with, right? And that's a huge amount of money. It will allow us to sign most of the players that we want to sign in free agency. I'm going to go through our free agents this year. The guys that are free agents. You tell me who you think we should keep. Okay? We have that are going to become free agents. Reggie Gilliam at fullback, Ty Johnson at running back, Amari Cooper, and Mac Hollins at wide receiver, Quentin Morris at tight end, Tommy Doyle at tackle. Tommy Doyle we're not going to re-sign him because he has retired. He has decided to retire after this season.
Got it.
So we have Dwan Smoot at defensive end, Austin Johnson at defensive tackle, Quentin Jefferson at defensive tackle, Jordan Phillips at tackle again, Rasul Douglas at corner, DeMar Hamlin at safety, and Reed Ferguson, who will be on the team later this season. He always signs last minute with the Bills because he's a long snapper and he doesn't really have to practice. He always just signs late in the offseason. So while he's a free agent, he's going to be on the team. Don't even worry about that.
Got it.
What do you think? Who do you think we should keep of that list?
Well, we'll start with Reggie Gilliam. I think he's replaceable. I think that the fullback position, not as imperative to this team, the sport, as many other positions. I think that if it frees up space, I think we get rid of Gilliam.
I agree. I think Gilliam can be replaced by a rookie.
Yeah,
and that makes him really cheap. So,
Ty Johnson, I don't know. I think Ty Johnson is a good utility for the run game. I liked our triple threat in the run game this year.
Yep.
James Cook, obviously the star of the show, but Davis and Ty Johnson looked amazing. I think that if it doesn't impact our cap space too much, I would say Ty Johnson had a very good time running past the secondary.
Yeah.
So I think that he could be a useful guy for us to keep.
Agreed. I 100% agree. I think he's going to be too expensive. I think he wants to I think he proved enough this year that he could give it a shot to be that 2 or to be that highly paid Jahmyr Gibbs type player.
Right.
So I think he's going to be too expensive at running back, especially with what we're going to have to do with James Cook.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't think that he's irreplaceable.
Yeah.
I think that it's been nice to have that combined threat in multiple reliable running backs, but I don't think that it will be too detrimental.
Yep, I agree.
Amari Cooper, like I said, I gave my opinion. I think we need another Amari Cooper. I don't think that we should keep Amari Cooper personally.
You think we should get a guy to replace Amari Cooper?
Yes. I don't know. Like I said, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of Amari Cooper on the Bills. He came in midseason. Maybe there's a period of trying to get the feel for the team, catching the bullets from Josh Allen. He definitely had an effect on the team.
Yeah.
Coming to the team, we immediately saw an improvement in our ability to pass the ball in general, not necessarily him becoming a crazy, one target.
Right.
So I do think that while Amari Cooper is an important part, I think that we could get rid of him if it means getting someone like him, being a threat to take some attention off of our number 2, 3 receivers, things like that.
Yeah, for Amari Cooper, I think he is not the player he used to be. He's not as good as he used to be, and we have a severe lack of speed on our offense. We have one burner. We have one guy who's fast, and he's a slot receiver, and that's Curtis Samuel.
Right.
And I like Curtis Samuel. He's still on the team next year. He's under contract. Not an outside receiver at all.
Right.
Right. We need somebody on the outside who can play fast. Right. We do not have that guy on the outside who can play fast right now. So I agree. We need to replace Amari Cooper with someone who is not Amari Cooper.
Going next, Mac Hollins.
Mac Hollins.
I think we got to keep Mac Hollins.
I 100% agree.
Of course you do.
I mean, look, we talking about freeing the feet here.
Yeah.
Mac Hollins is that key player who is not that expensive.
Yeah. I've been around those guys that just bring the locker room together.
Yeah.
When you have a guy that's reliably going to get everybody on their A game, raise the morale of the team, that's an important guy to have. And not just that, he showed a lot of improvement during the season.
Yeah.
He became a reliable receiver.
Yeah, I think we got so much out of him. I think he is worth every penny that we are going to pay him. Like, he is very much worth it. I think you have to keep a guy like Mac Hollins on your team.
I agree. I think that it's underappreciated what just a team morale building player can do for a team.
100%. What do you think about Quentin Morris?
I think that Quentin Morris is replaceable for sure.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, I mean, we have one very good tight end. I don't know. I think that Dawson Knox and Kincaid they have their different uses, and they do it well. So I don't even want to put a number 1 and number 2 on our tight ends because I really think that they do a good job together, a great package. Morris doesn't really touch the ball that much.
No.
So
I think we replace him with some free agent rookie who never sees the field, and that'll be fine.
Yeah, save some money on that position. We already have a good number 1 and number 2.
Yep.
Smoot, Johnson, Jefferson, Phillips. Tell me about those guys. Tell me what you think.
My opinion on those guys is I think we can let them all walk.
Okay.
I think we need to rebuild our defensive line. And I think the only way to rebuild your defensive line is through the draft.
Okay.
I think through the draft or doing one other thing that we might be thinking about is the only way to rebuild your defensive line because the defensive line is just too expensive. Right. Like for a mid-level guy like Dwan Smoot, you're paying $10 million. Like it's just too expensive to keep all of those players on the defensive line. Yeah. And we're already paying a lot for our defensive line.
So who would we be keeping on the defensive line?
So we would still have Greg Rousseau, Javon Solomon, Ed Oliver, Dwayne Carter, Daquan Jones, and 2 guys who I don't know their names who have never played.
Yeah. So I mean, especially there's at least a good 3 names on there that I think amazing to keep on our defensive side of the ball, and I think that they are a good staple to build off of.
Agreed. And I think for the money, I think those players that we listed, we should just let those guys walk. They're good players.
The players that you mentioned
that I mentioned previously.
Smoot, Johnson, Jefferson, Phillips.
Yep.
Yeah.
They'll find teams. Phillips might come back. Phillips, he just loves Buffalo.
Okay.
Jordan Phillips, I don't know if you see it. He's the guy who's always trying to pump up the crowd and like he's fun. He loves Buffalo. He's never played well anywhere else. He plays well here. So like,
okay.
do
you think it'd be a similar situation as far as Von Miller goes?
Yeah.
Negotiating a lower.
Well, he's a free agent. So like all we got to do is give him the vet minimum, which is we give him $1 million to play for the year. And if he wants to play for us, then play for us. Great, if not, then go somewhere else.
Okay. You don't think that we're lacking in that position enough that we need to hunt for?
I don't think
somebody else.
I think we have to hunt for someone else.
Okay, you do.
I just think if we're going to pay someone, they need to be better than those guys.
Got it.
What are your thoughts on Rasul Douglas? That for keeping, re-signing, what are your thoughts on him?
I like Rasul Douglas.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how old he is, what longevity looks like for him, but I think that he's been reliable enough that he deserves a spot on the team. Do I think he can be replaced? Yeah, sure. But he's already got the chemistry with the team. He's done a good job. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think Rasul Douglas is a guy who, if we can replace him with a better option and so he's 30, I believe, 30 or 31. Hang on, I have that written down somewhere.
We're on the same wavelength today.
It
feels like
we're doing too much agreeing.
I know
it's making for bad content, Josh. You need to disagree with me more.
I know. It's like I feel like we feel scripted here because I have all the same thoughts. But hey, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I like Rasul Douglas. I think we should re-sign him if we don't have something better that we can find, someone better. What about Damar Hamlin? That is a very hot button topic. What are your thoughts on that? Free agent Damar Hamlin. He will be signed somewhere else.
Is he going to cost us a lot of money to keep?
I don't know. I think too much money. I think
so?
I think
he's good.
You think he's good?
Yeah. So last year, I didn't really have too many opinions on Damar Hamlin besides the fact that he can beat death. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But this year, he was a reliable tackler. He had multiple interceptions. I think he's great. I think he's going to continue to get better as well. I don't think we saw him at his peak last year. If he's not too expensive, I mean, being someone who doesn't fully understand the cap, those are going to be my generic terms on if he's not too expensive. I think he's good. I think he's going to get better too.
Okay. All right. So I personally think we should play hardball with Damar Hamlin. Be like, if you want to stay in Buffalo, here's the number. I don't know what that number is. And I think that's the number we should stick to. And if he wants to go somewhere else to get paid more to start, then I think we should let him.
What's the contract length that typically would be offered to him?
Probably 3 years. Let's see. Do I have down here?
Are there situations like that where a 1-year deal is offered?
Yes, some people do get 1-year deals.
See?
I think Damar Hamlin is probably hunting for something longer term because this is after his rookie contract. Right. So the biggest contract any NFL player signs is going to be their first contract after their rookie contract is over. So it's going to be the most money that he's going to make. Damar Hamlin's going to want to hunt for money because it will be the most money he ever makes in his life.
Yeah. And I wouldn't blame him if he wanted to walk. I mean, you're taking care of your family and, family to come with that kind of money. So I would understand if he walked. I think that he's going to do great wherever he is.
Yeah. I think he's good. I think he's a very good player. And I think we can find a replacement for him. The other big thing I think is I think Sean McDermott coaches defensive backs better than anyone in the league. And our defensive backfield was not that great, but our defense was still good this year.
Yeah. Now, in general, on the defensive side of the ball, we've seen him turn decimated defenses into competent defenses, above average.
And he can coach the secondary. He can coach the linebackers. There's one thing that he can't coach, and it's pass rush.
Yeah.
It's because it's impossible. It's not impossible to coach, but you can't turn a middling pass rusher into an elite one. It just doesn't happen. So I think we'll let Damar Hamlin walk, but I could be wrong. And I will look into seeing what it's like at some point to keep him.
Yeah.
Going into extensions, because we're talking about salary cap right now.
Got it.
So I think there are certain players that we should extend this year who are from that free agent list and also on the last year of their contract.
Got it.
So those are Christian Benford. I think he is a slam dunk. We sign him. He is our outside top of the line corner. We re-sign him. Easiest re-signing we've got.
Got it.
Right. 4 years, $21 million a year. He'll take up $3.85 million on the cap this year, additional to what he's currently being paid. Terrell Bernard, another slam dunk extension. So linebackers are criminally underpaid.
Okay.
But that works to our advantage because it means we get to keep a great player like Terrell Bernard for only $7 to $8 million a year.
Jeez.
Like that. And his cap hit this year barely increases. It's 0.86 million increase, assuming I did my contract math right. We're going to assume that I did my contract math right. All of these numbers are going to fluctuate based on negotiation between player and team and things like that, right? But assuming I did all of this contract math right, Terrell Bernard re-signing easy. Khalil Shakir. We like that guy.
We like that guy a lot. Okay, talk to me about him.
Okay, he's a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Wide receivers get paid a lot of money.
Yeah. And he had a fantastic year.
He had a spectacular year. I think we have to re-sign him because it's the final year of his contract. We cannot let him go to free agency or get into what Cincinnati is going through with T. Higgins with their salary cap.
Yeah.
Like, we have to extend him now before he has an even better season next year. If he has an even better season next year, he's going to cost some team $25-28 million a year. This year, we can probably sign him for 20. We can probably sign him for $20 million a year, which will take up $6 million on our cap this year, which is a lot of money.
He's worth it.
He's worth it.
Yeah, he was our most reliable receiver. I mean, Mans finds a way to get open. He catches the ball all the time. He gets yards after catch. He's a complete package without being, he's the complete package without being that all-star player.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's the reliability we need. And that was kind of the dynamic I was talking about when Amari Cooper came on the team. He really opened up the opportunities for Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think he is the biggest player he's probably going to be, in my opinion, our biggest contract this year, barring one other. James Cook, this is a talk right now.
It's tough.
James Cook right now is going on in the media asking for $15 million a year.
Okay.
That is too much money for a running back, no matter who the running back is. I wouldn't pay Saquon Barkley $15 million a year. In fact, Saquon Barkley is not getting paid $15 million a year. He is getting paid, I think it's $13 million a year.
Yeah. Yeah, $15 million a year is not happening.
Yeah.
James Cook, fantastic player. He makes an argument because had we given him the ball when we should have during the playoffs, maybe we went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's always that same argument of how important is the running back to the run game, especially when you're talking those kind of numbers.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley might have shown, Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry might have changed the narrative on a little bit. He's not those two players. Is he close? Is he up there? Sure.
Yeah.
But he's not quite making an argument that he's revolutionary money like that.
There's one team that paid their running back a ridiculous amount of money, and they have come to regret it, and that is Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers.
Yeah.
They paid him $19 million a year, and they hate that $19 million a year.
Yeah.
Like that, that is a weight on their cap.
Yeah, and it's such a vulnerable position.
Yep.
Then he ended up getting injured, and who knows if that payout is really going to be worth it. Is he going to have a spectacular year like he has in the past?
Yeah. So my opinion with James Cook is I think he's opening at 15. I think this is a negotiation tactic. I think he's using this to try to negotiate. I think his opening is going to be 15. Ours is going to be 10, and we meet at 12. And if we can get the meet at 12, that's overpaying for him. But it is okay. Yeah. It's not my favorite idea. I've been of the opinion that you shouldn't pay a running back in the NFL for a long time. James Cook is like, I like James Cook a lot. It's so hard for me to say this, but the best thing the Bills could probably do is trade him. Like,
yeah,
trade him to a team who will pay him.
He deserves slightly less than someone, like Barkley. You know? He makes a huge impact on the team.
He does.
He's not just a running back either. He can, act as a receiver. He's ever improving, right? This was his best year by far. He's not done growing as a player.
No.
It's a tough one. I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards keep him, especially knowing that we're probably going to let Ty Johnson walk.
Yep.
If we're not going to, we had a great dynamic with having multiple options in the run game. Ray Davis still staying.
He'll be on the team for a couple more
great,
years.
But he's a second string. You know? I think that if the negotiation goes as planned and they get him down to hopefully more like 11 million, then I think you keep him. If he's going to play hardball and want 13, 14 million, you got to let him go.
Okay. Yep. I 100% agree. And I think we can do that. That is my hope. Sign Matt Collins $2 million a year. Here's the argument with James Cook. Yeah. Here's the argument for James Cook. You get him down to 11 and be like, okay, James, here's the deal. Because by getting you down to 11, we get to keep Matt Collins on the team. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, hopefully they're boys. And, I think James Cook enjoys being in Buffalo. I don't know. That'll be a very interesting
negotiation.
Yeah. I'd be very interested to see how that plays out.
All right. And then the last guy I have on here, players that I think we should re-sign, is Rasul Douglas.
Okay.
And for Rasul Douglas, this could have a caveat. All right. Because I think we should hunt in free agency for a corner. Right. And Rasul Douglas is going to make $11 million per year for however long you extend him. If you want to sign him for a 1-year contract, he's making 11 to 12 million that year. So that is an expensive contract. If you're going to pay that money, maybe you go hunting, right? There's a bunch of free agent corners this year that you could hunt for.
Okay.
There's Byron Murphy, who's younger, not quite as good. Sorry. Who is as good? Byron Murphy, who's more expensive, but not so much more expensive this year. Let's say we sign a Rasul Douglas contract for $12 million for 1 year.
Okay.
That's $12 million on our cap this year. If we sign a guy like Byron Murphy, we're gonna extend him for a long time. He's 27 years old. We'll do like a 4-year contract for like 22 a year, which is expensive for a corner. But this year he'd only make $9 million. He'd only be on the cap for $9 million because of that signing bonus.
Okay.
Right. So that's the expensive option, right?
Got it.
I think Byron Murphy is who we kind of go for the expensive option. Other similar options to Rasul Douglas would be DJ Reed, Charvarius Ward, and Carlton Davis. All of them are a little more expensive than Rasul Douglas because they're a little bit better and they're a little bit younger. I think those three are options if you want more stability at the position for a long term, right? Rasul Douglas is 31. I think he's only going to be good for another year or two. So I
personally think that we should invest in the future there.
Yep, I agree.
We go younger, and we not Byron Murphy.
Not Byron Murphy. You think he's too much? You just think that's too much money, especially. I agree.
I don't think that our secondary was bad enough for us to need to invest that heavily. If we're getting an upgrade in certain positions, great. Slightly better than where we were, slightly more money. I don't think we need to go balls to the wall and go for somebody big like Byron Murphy.
I agree with that. I think one of the three, DJ Reed, Travarius Ward, and Carlton Davis are very good options. There's one more guy who we can talk about who just got cut from the Carolina Panthers, Dane Jackson. He is a former Bill. He was a solid Bill, and he is the cheapest option. If we were to pay him, we would be spending $2.5 million a year on him. Like, that is the inexpensive option. We might do both. Honestly, we might sign a DJ Reed and a Dane Jackson as a backup.
I don't think that just getting Dane Jackson is the right move. He didn't do much of anything last year. I was checking out his stats even when he was on the Bills. I mean, good, sure, but nothing that's going to transform us from, where we are now. I don't see him as an upgrade.
Yeah, I agree. I think the one thing you can't do is focus so much on the salary cap.
Got it.
And be like, oh, this guy's the cheaper option. Let's go there. I think you have to consider improve it. You always have to consider whether something's an improvement. If signing a guy like Dane Jackson is a net negative to the actual roster, then it is a bad move.
Right.
Which is what it would be. It would be going from Rasul Douglas to Dane Jackson would be going from a better player to a worse player just because it costs less. And I think that is the wrong mentality to have as a football team. You have to balance the cap, but like I said, if you really need that much more money, just extend Josh Allen farther down the road.
Yeah.
Get another couple million with Josh Allen.
And it seems like you're leaning a little bit more towards the DJ Reed option.
Yes. So DJ Reed was on the Jets. He has been a thorn in our side for years. I have disliked DJ Reed.
If you can't beat him, snag him.
Yes. Because I dislike him, I want him. He is the guy who annoys me because he's too good. So I think DJ Reed should be our number one option.
Yeah, I'm okay with being annoyingly good.
All right. Now, there are two positions left that we have to talk about.
All right, which one are we going to look at next?
We're going to look at wide receiver because it is the less hot takey option.
Okay. Sounds good.
Wide receiver, there's a couple of guys. All of them are expensive because wide receiver is expensive.
Right.
So we got Chris Godwin, who's going to be a free agent this year.
Okay.
Chris Godwin's very good. He's been very good on Tampa for a long time. He's injury prone.
Yeah.
That's his biggest issue.
Did he suffer from injuries this past season?
He did. He was out this past season.
Okay, that makes sense because I was looking at the stats and I was like, okay, Baker Mayfield threw 4,500 yards, and I was like, but Chris Godwin got like none of it. So okay, injured, got it.
Injured early in the season and did not play much at all this season. So that's the biggest risk for Chris Godwin. We got Deontay Johnson, who's fast, but not that great. Who would be like, I don't know, another Matt Collins, but doesn't have the evidence of being good like Matt Collins does. So that's my cheap option because I like floating cheap options out there, but like I don't really want him. Do you have any thoughts on Deontay Johnson in general?
I don't. I'm looking at our list of prospects here, and I have one that I think is going to be worth the money.
Okay. We have Marquise Brown on the list next. What are your thoughts on Marquise Brown? Is he that one that you think?
No. It's T. Higgins.
It's T. Higgins?
Listen, he's expensive.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think that we need a Amari Cooper replacement.
Yep.
And I think that we need someone who's a real threat. And I mean, yeah, he's a real threat.
Yeah, for sure. T. Higgins is by far the best wide receiver who might be on the market this year. You got to pry him off of the Cincinnati's cold, dead hands.
Yeah.
But Cincinnati has a really hard choice to make this year. They have to pay Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and a defensive end. I can't remember his name. His name escapes me right now. They have to either pay one of all three of those.
Yeah.
which they can't do.
So they're going to let somebody walk.
They're probably going to let somebody walk.
It's not going to be Jamar Chase.
And it's not going to. So Jamar Chase is on the last year of his deal. So they technically don't have to sign him, but you cannot let that man get onto anywhere close to the free agent market.
Yeah.
Like Jamar Chase is the number one priority. So here's the thing with Cincinnati. They have a poor owner.
Okay.
So the one thing that Cincinnati cannot do that the Bills ownership can do is sign that big signing bonus. So because of that, they have to do things like rolling guarantees. They have to be more creative because they don't have enough money to pay a guy like T. Higgins on top of Jamar Chase this season, on top of Joe Burrow last season. Yeah. They're a franchise that just doesn't have enough money.
Do you agree that T. Higgins is worth it?
He is 100%. Yeah. If T. Higgins hits the market, I have written down here $25.4 million. I'm paying that man whatever it takes to get him into Buffalo.
Yeah.
I'm spending that money. I am mortgaging whatever I have to get that man into Buffalo and to get him a contract.
I'd be okay with letting James Cook walk if it means that we can get T. Higgins.
I 100% agree. Yeah.
We need that true number one receiver. Amari Cooper, like I said, he made an impact on the team. He didn't do anything that was out of this world himself. I think T. Higgins would do that. I think we have T. Higgins on the team. We both create a great distraction for our other receivers to do their thing. But then I think we're going to see big plays on the side of T. Higgins as well that Amari Cooper did not quite deliver on consistently.
Indeed. There is one more interesting player who I didn't write down.
Ooh, I'm excited. Go ahead.
Stephon Diggs is a free agent this year.
Yeah, that's a no for me, dog. Yeah. No, I don't think he's good for the culture of the team. I don't think that he's the same player he was when he left the Bills. He had the injury now. I wish him all the best. I hope that he learns how to, put the ego aside and just play football, man, and just be great at what you do. But no, I don't think I want him back on the Bills.
Wouldn't it be the funniest thing though? We trade him for a second round pick to Houston, who paid him, accelerated his contract, so he was a free agent this year, and then they trade away a second round pick for Stephon Diggs, and they get him for 4 games. And then he comes back and signs with the Bills the next season.
What do you think he would cost us?
12 to 13 million. So too much, probably.
It'd only be hilarious if it was iconic and he just came back and he was that man again, and a selfless version of that too. Yeah. But I think it's too risky.
I agree. You know who I think is going to sign Stephon Diggs?
Who's that?
I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to sign Stephon Diggs.
Oh, I would hate that.
I know.
I would hate that.
It would be terrible, which is why I think it's going to happen.
that adds up. That adds up. Yeah, no, I would not be surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised if they target the heck out of them when they play against us.
Yeah.
That's just what they do.
All right. Moving on to the hot button topic, the defensive line, the defensive ends. Now, I have a list of free agents here. This list of free agents is secondary. I don't care about any of them.
Okay.
We could sign any one of these guys. They're all good. I have a list with DeMarcus Lawrence, Josh Sweat, Chase Young, Charles Omenihu, like all of those guys, I would be happy. I would be fine with.
Right.
There's one thing I want us to do this year.
What's that?
That is to trade for Myles Garrett or Max Crosby.
Holy shit.
That is the only thing I want us to do. If nothing else happens this offseason, if we do none of else what I wanted to do, if nothing else happens and we get Myles Garrett or Max Crosby, I'll be happy. I'm good with it. Like, we're going to have to trade at least one first round pick for for either of those guys.
Yeah.
They're freaking worth it. We might have to trade 2 first round picks. You know what? Our first round pick next year is going to be 32, so it doesn't matter.
Do you think there's a world where we get T. Higgins and Myles Garrett or Max Crosby.
Interesting point. I think we can do it with Myles Garrett. I don't think we can do it with Max Crosby. The reason I say that, Myles Garrett's current contract, if we trade for him, he would actually only be $4 million on our salary cap because Cleveland already paid him that big bonus. Because he had such a huge bonus from Cleveland, it would only actually cost us $4 million on our salary cap this year.
We better hunt for him.
Yeah. But I mean, he's obviously the best player. He's the best player, non-quarterback player in the league. And if we could get him, we would have the 2 best players in the league on our team.
Yeah. I can see it happening. You know, he wants to leave the organization for competitive reasons.
Yeah.
You know, he's getting paid over there, but he wants a chip. You know, he wants to go to that next level, and he's not going to do that where he is.
No, he's not.
And the Bills are a great and obvious option to get yourself some NFL gold.
Yep, for sure. And I think that's the slam dunk is Myles Garrett, T. Higgins. If we get those 2 guys,
I agree.
We are going to be set for the season. I don't care about all of the other players.
Yeah.
Just get undrafted free agents to fill out the roster. Just pay the minimum to everyone else. Like if you can get Myles Garrett and T. Higgins, you're set. You're good.
I agree. Yeah. And especially with the cheap options that we have, like keeping Mac Hollins. And I think you have to pay Khalil Shakir. I think we got to keep Shakir. We got to keep Mac Hollins. And I think that as far as who we need to grab, those are our top 2 priorities.
Yep. I 100% agree. And if we cannot get Myles Garrett, I think we go for Max Crosby. Max Crosby, not quite as good as Myles Garrett, but still a spectacular pass rusher. Yeah. And he is the player who Patrick Mahomes hates more than any other player in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. But I mean, I want Myles Garrett. Dude, can you imagine? Can you imagine having him on the Bills, bro?
Oh, it would be so great.
Imagine we get our Christmas present. We get Myles Garrett and T. Higgins.
Oh my God. That would be so incredible. I cannot express how incredible it would be. Like that would be one of those moves where if we got Myles Garrett and T. Higgins, the press the next day would be like, what is the rest of the NFL doing? Yeah. Why are they letting the Bills build a super team?
Yeah.
That getting those 2 is like when Steph got Kevin Durant. Yeah. Like that is just too good. Yeah. We would be too good. We would have 3 of the top 20 players in the league.
Yeah, and it's very possible.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like if you make the right moves, you can make that happen. You're going to suffer other places, but I don't think we have enough area that we're going to suffer that it's not worth it.
No,
you know, I think that we're very lucky that we have some underpaid great players.
Yeah.
You know, we have players that are very good and are underappreciated by the league, and they're going to be able to stay on the Bills for a cheaper price, and that's going to allow us to make a couple of crazy moves like that.
Yeah.
Which is amazing considering, you know, where we left off this past year.
100%. And so this is just a small side effect of trading for Myles Garrett. Not only will he only cost $4 million on our cap, he's going to cost our first round pick, which would have cost us $2.5 million this year. So he's going to save us some money on the cap just because we are not going to be able to draft a player where we would. There is not a single negative to trading for Myles Garrett. There's not a single negative to trading for Max Crosby other than he's not Myles Garrett.
Who do we have to worry about snagging him?
Myles Garrett. So he has a no trade clause in his contract, which really helps us because he does not want to go to a team who isn't competitive.
Right.
So there's like a couple of teams who I think might get him. The first is Washington. I think outbidding Washington is going to be our biggest threat.
Okay.
Because they're a good team. They're on the rise. They can pay anyone any amount of money that they want right now because their quarterback's on a rookie contract and they're a good team. That's the biggest threat, in my opinion, is Washington.
And I can see that.
I know the Patriots want him too, but I don't think he wants to go to the Patriots. He doesn't want to go to the second best team in a division.
Yeah. And I mean, they're not the Patriots of old,
No,
It's not like they're a promise for a great team in the next year or two. We don't know what's going to happen with the Patriots.
A lot of people are saying Philadelphia, but I don't think Philadelphia can afford him.
No.
I think Philadelphia has to pay too many players, and they have a lot of free agents this year, especially on the defensive line. They're going to have to restock, and they're going to have to do it through the draft. So, and Howie Roseman is just too good at drafting.
Right.
Like that guy is an insanely good drafter. So he's probably like, you know what? I'll just draft this Joe Schmuck in the 5th round and he'll be almost as good.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree that he would be dangerous if he did make his way to the Commanders. Let's hope we make it work, man.
I would trade whatever it takes to get Myles Garrett. Yeah. Like, I would trade. It's not going to cost as much.
Anything not named Josh Allen.
Yes, yes. So here is my reasonable trade for Myles Garrett.
Okay.
Obviously, 1st round this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 2nd round this year as well. And Greg Rousseau. I think if you add Greg Rousseau to that, I think that they'll accept that trade. Maybe
he's a tough one to lose.
He is,
because I do believe that he's a key part of our defense right now. But I mean, obviously, when you're putting a guy like that on the line,
yeah. Losing Greg Rousseau would be tough, but I think it's just getting a Myles Garrett is just too big. Like he is such a great game wrecker. He gets like 20 sacks a season.
Is he the league's leading sack?
I think this year he wasn't, but I think he's like right there. I think he's like 2nd. Like it was either him or TJ Watt or one of those other guys.
Yeah. Overall, what is your ideal offseason completed? Re-signings, trades, free agents. What do you think?
All right. So my ideal offseason is extending Josh Allen, Dawson Knox, Taylor Rapp, Ed Oliver, and Connor McGovern. It is re-signing / extending Christian Benford, Terrell Bernard, Khalil Shakir, James Cook, unless we get T. Higgins, then probably moving on from James Cook, Matt Collins, and Rasul Douglas. And then I would say signing DJ Reed, T. Higgins, and going after and getting Myles Garrett.
I love it.
That is, if we do all of that this offseason, I don't care if we have any draft picks left. I will trade the entire Bills draft this year to do exactly that, Joshua.
You're willing to sacrifice it all.
Everything.
Hey man, the Bills Mafia is hanging on a motto. It's like just once before I die.
Yes.
And how are you going to do it? You got to make big moves. You got to be aggressive. You got to go after those big playmakers. And I mean, we have the MVP quarterback.
Yeah.
We have the diversity on our offense. We have an amazing defensive coach. We can make it happen. But I agree. We have to be aggressive.
Yeah. And one thing that you'll notice is almost every Super Bowl winner in the past 10 years has a top 5 quarterback and a top 5 defensive player.
Yeah.
Right? We need a top 5 defensive player. We don't have one right now.
Yeah, we don't.
And Myles Garrett's that guy. Like, if we don't get T. Higgins, I'll be a little disappointed. But if we can just get Myles Garrett or Max Crosby,
we're just fantasizing at this point. I hope that you're right. I agree that that's the right move to make. Hey, we're same wavelength here, man. Yeah. I love the players on our team. I think that we're in a great position.
I agree.
We're in a great position going into free agency because we have some cheap guys that are much better than the number next to their name represents.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we have a spectacular offensive line. We have great role players at wide receiver. We have a solid running back core. Our defense is good. Oh, another guy in the last year of his contract. Sorry. Sam Martin, our punter. I really couldn't care less.
Yeah.
I do have one other note.
We don't punt.
Yeah, my ideal scenario is that punter, his name is changed to Holder because that's his only job on our team. It is not to punt. It is just to hold on extra points.
That's hilarious.
There is one final note. If we can find a way to trade Kyer Elam, I would love to trade Kyer Elam. He is absolute dead weight on our team. He is not a good player. If we can trade him away, I would give him to Cleveland, the Myles Garrett trade. Add Kyer Elam.
Or try and draft.
Yeah. The problem with him is we can't cut him because it would cost us $4 million more this year on cap.
So trading's the best option
to cut him. If we trade him, net zero, but like he's just absolute dead weight on our team. We can't cut him.
Can we trade him with a late draft pick?
Like trade him and a late draft pick to someone else for a lesser draft pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the way trades work in the NFL, you can do that. The other team has to trade something back. Okay. So like, let's say we trade Kyer Elam in a 6th for a 7th. Yeah. That is allowed.
Okay. That's
just trading away a guy just to get rid of his contract is possible. People have done it before, but it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, you think he's going to stick around?
I think he's just going to be on the team as a backup, and yeah, unfortunate, but it's okay.
Awesome.
That was just one last note I had on there. Wanted to get that in.
Yeah. So when's the next time we'll be checking in for an NFL podcast?
So we haven't decided yet whether we're going to do. Oh, actually, we are going to do a post free agency podcast where we talk about what happened in free agency. Just checking in, seeing what moves the Bills made, what they didn't. I might throw shorts up every single move. I will throw a short up if we trade for Myles Garrett.
Absolutely.
And then we'll probably do either a pre or a post draft podcast as well.
Awesome. So make sure you guys check back in for those videos. If you like this podcast, please check out our 2004 season recap for the Bills season. Like, subscribe, check in for more content. We're focusing on NFL and UFC news. So if you're interested in either of those topics, please check in. We'd love to have more of you viewers checking out our content.
Yeah, we're really excited about this YouTube channel. We really think it's going to take off. We think we're giving good content. If you have an idea on how we can get better, just leave a comment below. Let us know. And yeah, that's all I got for today. What about you?
Yeah, I'm all good. I think we just end on the Go Bills.
Yeah, go Bills.
Go Bills. We need longer arms.